Hey everybody, Adam from Atlas Gunworks. Talk about front sights today, and give you guys the good tips, I guess, on how to fit a front sight. There's probably tons of videos out here, but we get asked this question a lot, or somebody wants to change the front sight. So almost all of our guns are cut at a 60-degree angle, and so it's going to be 300 by 60 by 60. That's your standard, what Dawson would call an STI front sight cut. Different folks call them different things, but the other one that's popular is the 330, I think by 65 or 70. There's another, it's a little bit bigger than this one, but this is your standard STI kind of. So first thing, get the right sight. That's kind of where I'm getting at here. So when you get the sights, they all come oversized. And that's a good thing, but they have to be fit, and it's really important that you fit them right, otherwise they come out. And there's a bunch of stages to this. So I might not keep you on camera for the whole time here, just because it takes forever. But if you look here, I'm trying to just see where this won't even, it's not even close to starting. Like, there's a pile that's going to come off of here. Now, everyone who cuts these cuts them differently. This one got cut in our CNC machine with our tool. Well, when the tool's fresh, it's a little bigger than when it's worn out and whatever. So there's some variables here. So there's always going to be fitting. That's what I'm getting at. So I see there's a lot going on there. And what I'm going to do now, we'll see how far my camera reaches. I'll just do it down low here. And so I'm trying to do it so I don't get any metal shavings on the slide. So if you look here, actually, let's do this. Let's take you over so I'm sanding a little bit. So what's going to happen here, I have a triangle file. I think we'll try to put the Brownells number up, but buy the expensive ones. They're 100 times better than the cheap ones. It's probably $10. Remember, these are disposable, so when they start not cutting that good, kick them. The sights don't have to be super smooth. I'm using a number 1, which is the more aggressive one that they sell there. You could probably use a 0 too. But you're going to take your triangle file, and this 45, it's probably a 30-degree angle here. We're going to try to work that down, but we got to be even. So you got to make sure when you're cutting flat. We can't cut here and not here. We got to cut flat. So a little bit of practice. It's not that hard. You get good at cutting flat, and we're going to take it off on both sides until that sight will start. So I know I'm not even close, but you're going to see me come back here and just check. All right, not even close. But we're getting closer. Let's see if you guys can see that, but it's not even. There's like, probably 5 or 6 thou there at least that's coming off. So hold on 1 minute here. I'll stop taping, and then we'll come back when I got it close, and you'll kind of see the final steps. But in the middle here, you're just going to take one of these triangle files. Again, I think we'll try to put the number up. And you buy one of these, and if you're doing it at home, unless you're building a lot of guns, you probably get 10 years out of one. But the expensive one's so much better than the cheap ones. All can be had at Brownells. So hang on just 1 second, and we'll come right back. Alright everybody, Adam from Atlas Gunworks, I'm back. So, we're starting to get close here. A quick tip, if you don't have them, wood or aluminum covers on your jaws on your vise will help a bunch. And then the other thing that I like to do is use a thick, in fact these are Dawson, whatever comes in the package, the labels or whatever. But some thick piece of paper or cardboard, give you that extra no scratch thing. So that's what you're seeing here is just protecting the slide. So it's hard to see a little bit at this angle, but we've got it to start. And what's happening is when you start it, when you push it in there by hand, don't use a tool yet, you'll see the little witness marks where it's binding. So we need to take a little more. But here's what we're going to do. I'm just barely started here, okay? I would need it to go pretty much a third. Something that won't scratch this. So, at a third, somewhere in here, I should be able to put some of a correct kind of locking compound on there, push it on, and then it's going to get really difficult at the end, but it's going to be super tight, and it should stay on there pretty much forever. Makes them a little harder to get off, but if you know what you want for a sight set, that's good. If you get it to where you can push it halfway, this front edge halfway to here, or a little past that, and then the locking compound, it's often not enough. And if these are kind of soft, and as you shoot the gun and this all gets hot, that won't work. So the next time you see us, we'll have it so it'll come to about here. And then the other thing that's going to happen that I'll probably show you how to do it real quick, is this is all metals in the white now. I've taken off this is a cheap bluing finish pretty much on here, but we'll reapply some cold blue and get that to be, we don't want any uncured metal out there, otherwise first humid day or rain or whatever, it's going to rust up. So I'll show you that process next. You won't see us file until it gets to the middle, and then we'll jump back after it's set up here, then the bluing's worked. We're at a third and we'll pound it on there. Alright, we're back to the next section here. This part's going to be a little fuzzy, but just take a little alcohol, and alcohol is a good cleaner. Get any of the residue or oil that's in here. Oil will mess with that Loctite quite a bit. So get that nice and clean. Clean surface is good. So I'm happy with that. Then we got our sight. Needs some bluing. I don't normally do that. I have a section that we do this, but I didn't want to move the camera, so you'll see me blue here on this. Make sure it's nice and clean. I just take a little bit on a Q-tip. It does like to get really smashed in there, so I blot it and kind of really try to get it off the Q-tip, the actual bluing agent. The 4440 seems to be the only one that really works well. Again, you can get that at Brownells. Turn it nice and black, keep going. You can just reapply this until it gets the color you want. But if it's not black, the bluing process didn't really work. And then once you blue the sight, of course this is a corrosion agent kind of creating a new surface on there. Basically just corroding the surface to the point where it won't continue to corrode. That's a crude way of saying it, but that's essentially what's happening. Then you got to douse it with oil to kind of neutralize it. So this oil is also going to create a little bit of a mess, and it's going to mess with our Loctite. So I'm going to let that sit for a good bit here, and when you see me come back, I'll have cleaned this up, and the surfaces that are going to touch this thing and work with the Loctite are going to get will get clean with alcohol as well. All right. Got that Loctite all dried up. We've got the clean with alcohol, and this part looks good. So I'm going to do one last test fit. I'm going to slide this in here. About 3/4. We like that. I'm going to get down low and make sure this part's going to clearance here. Every now and then these will be too low or bent, and they'll catch on the slide. That looks good. So we're ready to do this. This is probably the most intense part, or the trickiest part, is driving that on there. Try not to mar up your thing. Now this is a 620 green locking compound from Loctite. I don't think it hurts to put extra in there, so we go right to it. Now, the goal here is to get this in without banging up the slide any. Sight, worst case, if we banged it up, it could be fixed. Now, one of my tricks to that is to take one of these. Every time you do this, run a new piece of aluminum. Then the Dawson sights come with them, and I don't think them, whatever, but try to get yourself a little block of aluminum. They usually have a nice little barred edges on them. I think they designed them to run them this way, but I actually run them up and down, so I'm staying away from the sight cut. But I put a little bit of duct tape on there. Different tapes will work at different levels, but that helps to, in case something slips, you don't mar it up. So the lower you mount this slide in the vise, the more chances you get to run this thing straight at this. So I can pretty much like hold it. It's almost low enough there. Now I don't do this every time, but it's a trick if you don't do it a lot. It helps a ton. So that, see, now I'm over it, so I'm just going to bring that up a little bit. Make sure your vise is clamped down nice and tight. We don't want that to move. So see, that's almost flat. Now what I can do is keep pressure down here while I tap. Now, different people think that you should be able to use different levels of hammers here, but I like I run a 12-ounce hammer. Just because if I hit it, I want it to move. I don't want to... Now that, if you do that, you got to not miss. You know, but... Alright, so... Just for exaggeration purposes, I went too far. You saw me at the end there, I lifted this up. So that once it clears this little lip right here, right, I'm going to put this... the end of this, you still with the duct tape if I can. Sometimes you can't. I'm going to put this on the lip so that, you know, I'm not scratching the side of the slide or anything. I've gone too far. I'm going to have to come back a little bit. Really try not to go too far. That is not ideal. Now, I'm used to doing this with the Dawson sights, and I can indicate them just based on where the corners are. And I'm not as versed with this Manny sight. I probably only do one of these a month. Now, for those of you who watch our other social media type advertising, this was going to be my gun. So, a 70 wide Manny front with a micro dot up front and a 100 wide rear blade. Or notch in the blade, I should say. Now, this is close. There's a whole bunch of different ways to do this, and keep in mind that these things don't always indicate up. Like, these aren't always perfectly square, so there's different ways to do it. But really what we care about, I'm talking about zeroing this thing now. What we really care about, always make sure your caliper's zero. Just had an interesting problem with somebody making ammo. Chris, you know what I'm talking about, that wasn't zeroed. So when you're off by that much, then the ammo's off by that much. So here's what I like to do. I like to get on this and kind of come over to this tri-top here, right to the edge. Right, so I'm on the sight blade and I come over to the tri-top. Runs me 242. Ooh, I'm super close to 242 right there. Now, sometimes you'll see guys come indicate them off the sides here like this, but I find it super hard to be straight like that. 44. Also, if they cut that unevenly, which is totally possible. This is 41. 3 thou. So then we're just going to visually look and make sure it's straight. Everything seems to be pretty good here. So I think we're just going to call that good. Now, this one looks super good, and my duct tape kind of saved me, so I didn't have to do anything. If you leave some silver on here from your push deal, the cold blue won't really work to take that off. But, again, available at Brownells. These bluing pens do. So these little pens, you can just dab them on there, and then same thing, put some oil on them after. It makes the sights look really good. Final inspections, just take it off. Look down our thing. Everything looks square. Good to go. I hope that helps somebody. And if you go slow, everything usually works out. Take your time, use your files a lot, and life's good. Take care. See you on the range soon.